Journal of Contemporary Urban Affairs. 2023, Volume 7, Number 1, pages 103–121. Original scientific paper. A review of the meaning of home in multi-ethnic settings. *Ph.D. Candidate Erna Nuraliya Zarani, Professor Gayan Salim. Abstract. This paper explores the meaning of home from multiple regions and the factors that influence the definition of home from multi-ethnic perspectives. A hypothesis derived that each ethnicity of a household practices cultural values and that reconfiguring physical spaces provides greater knowledge of their definition of home. This study employed a systematic review to gather the most relevant papers in the existing literature from the year 2000 to 2023, to address the gaps in knowledge in conceptualizing the meaning of home in multi-ethnic settings. The findings respond to the hypothesis of this paper, that each household practices privacy and social boundaries in line with their belief systems and that reconfiguring physical space is part of homemaking tactics. This study outcome contributes to the development of a new conceptual framework that clarifies a comprehensive cause-effect relationship between key variables. Ethnicity as the social aspect, built space as the physical aspect and practice as the personal or psychological aspect, resulting in a greater understanding of the meaning of home in multi-ethnic settings from three scenarios: the home as socio-spatial, psychospatial, and emotive space entity. Highlights contribution to the field statement. Elucidate the interweaving relationship between the disciplines of sociology, psychology, emotions, architecture, and urbanism. Introduce a new framework as a guide to investigating human intervention in the transformability of spaces and physical settings. The outcome of the systematic review responds to the hypothesis of this paper that each household practices cultural values, privacy, and social boundaries in line with their belief systems and that reconfiguring a physical space defines the meaning of home. The primary contribution of this article to academia is the development of a new conceptual framework that synthesizes the meaning of home in multi-ethnic settings, incorporating ethnicity, home practice, and physical spaces. This interdisciplinary framework is essential for understanding how cultural values and privacy influence individuals' definitions of home, particularly in contemporary housing design and policy. Additionally, the article highlights the importance of examining research methods and tools and acknowledges the role of digital spaces in redefining the meaning of home in today's world. Corresponding author. School of Civil Engineering, Faculty of Engineering and Physical Science, University of Leeds, United Kingdom. CNENBZ at leeds.ac.uk. How to cite this article. Zarani, E.N. and Salim, G. 2023. A Review of the Meaning of Home in Multi-Ethnic Settings. Journal of Contemporary Urban Affairs, 7, 1, 103. 121 https://doi.org/10.25034/IJQA.2023.v7n1-8. Journal of Contemporary Urban Affairs, 7, 1, 103–121/2023. Ph.D. Candidate Erna Nuraliya Zarani, Professor Gayan Salim 104. 1. Introduction. In the context of architecture and urbanism, a physical home or a house is an architectural typology that provides shelter and protection for the members of households to perform their daily domestic activities. Cure Duvalches et al., 2020, Ojsidin and Rotman, 2022. A house is a fundamental aspect of human life and provides provisions to support basic physical survival needs. Muhammad Kadiri et al., 2020. In socio-economic research, ownership of a house usually indicates an individual's living standard, status, and social standing. Moen and Twig, 2007. Functionally, a house stands as a tangible structure that demarcates distinct spatial zones within which household members operate. Hu, 2008. One of the fundamental objectives of house design strategies is to differentiate between public and private areas. Hu, 2008, Rahim and Hashim, 2012. In essence, a house assumes the role of a human habitat as articulated by Lefebvre, 1991, p. 12. Phenomenological inquiry further elucidates the notion of inhabiting a space or dwelling, drawing parallels to the scholarship of Heidegger, Handel, 2019, who forged connections between architectural concepts, dwelling, and the idea of home. Heidegger posited that we do not dwell because we have built, but we build and have built because we dwell, that is, because we are dwellers. Heidegger, 2001, p. 146. Throughout the early stages of human history, when individuals sought transient safety at specific locations while also migrating to meet their survival needs, dwelling was inherently transient. However, as human settlements became more permanent, the notion of home underwent an evolutionary transformation. Easthope, 2004, Ojsidin and Rotman, 2022. Crucially, the concept of home transcends its physical permanence, expanding to encompass the constructive interpersonal relationships crucial for human well-being. Werner et al., 1992, Morrison, 2013, Altarazi, 2021. Home assumes a central role as a social setting for establishing and nurturing interpersonal bonds among household members, as well as fostering friendships with neighbors and guests. Werner, 1987, p. 170. The interaction between people, individually or in groups, setting, physical home, and time, linear or cyclical. Case, 1996, expressed the need for psychological comfort, social interactions, spatial attachment and recognition. Abu Gazette, 2000, Ryu et al., 2017, Rosbrook and Schweitzer, 2010. Consequently, the field of domestic architecture assumes the role of a symbol, reflecting identity and cultural expression. Abdelmanem and Salim, 2012, Vale, 1999, Woodward, 2003. Nonetheless, within the context of domestic architectural evolution amid globalization, the construction of physical home or houses becomes substantially influenced by factors such as construction efficiency, cost considerations, political agendas, and the representational identity of corporate entities. This emphasis on practical considerations often diminishes the attention afforded to the profound significance of the concept of home and its suitability for domestic practice. Law et al., 2015, Mallet, 2004, Samanani and Leonard, 2019, Ureta, 2007. Several international case studies have unequivocally exemplified that contemporary housing, particularly in the form of row houses, tends to adopt a standardized, generic approach to housing design. This approach, however, gradually erodes the socio-cultural practices of indigenous populations, as social and personal needs inherently vary across ethnicities. Abed et al. 2022, Al. Mohanady et al. 2023, Al-Thahab, 2016, Suryati et al. 2022. These issues, with global ramifications, have necessitated adaptation and appropriation strategies within the physical dwelling unit to facilitate sustainable living for its occupants. Abu Bakr et al. 2016, Al-Thahab, 2016, McKay and Perkins, 2017, Ureta, 2007. It is crucial to recognize that a house, considered solely as a physical structure, can transcend its mere physicality and evolve into a home over time through experiences and acts of appropriation. Abdelmanem and Salim, 2012, Aziz and Ahmed, 2012, Graham et al., 2015. Samanani and Leonard, 2019. In the Practice of Everyday Life, Certo, 1984, the dynamism of practices may influence the physical configuration of spaces, constructing an appropriate domestic space over time in response to personal and social needs can be perceived as a dynamic homemaking tactic. Ojsidin and Rotman, 2022. A home reflects the culture, social convention, and values manifested in people's habits, practices and Journal of Contemporary Urban Affairs, 7, 100-121/2023. Ph.D. Candidate Erna Nuraliya Zarani, Professor Gayan Salim 105. Predispositions towards their homes, which Bourdieu, 1977, referred to as habitus. These values and dispositions are acquired through the cultural history we carry across contexts, thus enabling us to respond in various ways towards cultural rules and contexts, even though where and who we have been largely determines and regulates our responses to the setting. In Chile, low-income households domesticated their interior homes as a way to find a balance between their sense of identity and their inclusion into the Chilean community, always concerning policymakers and developers' perceptions, as reflected in estate architectural design on how low-income families should reside in urban settings. Ureta, 2007, p. 132. For it to feel like a home, these families appropriated the physical configurations of their new domestic space to suit their perceived needs. Ureta, 2007. A similar challenge was faced by Muslim dwellers when occupying contemporary Australian houses, as they are required to adapt to the extroversion design despite gender and social boundaries being constantly stressed in Islamic practice. Othman, 2014. Vale, 1999, identified continued evidence for this practice in politicized urbanism in developing countries such as Malaysia. Since the early development of contemporary row houses in the 1970s, Malaysian scholars have criticized the design of contemporary homes, calling it a forced architectural identity. Razdi, 2007. Numerous research on identical and mirror image built forms in contemporary row housing led to physical modifications by dwellers, describing issues concerning privacy tensions and social conflicts, which are inefficient to their home practice and experience. Omar et al., 2016, Razali and Talib, 2013. Samsudin and Edid, 2016. In sum, the studies on the meaning of home from Western, Middle Eastern, and Eastern scholarships are vast. However, there is a knowledge gap in conceptualizing the meaning of home in multi-ethnic settings. A systematic review is required to explore the existing empirical studies from diverse ethnic backgrounds and the factors that influence their meaning of home. To fill in the gap, the following questions must be researched. 1. How do we conceptualize the meaning of home in multi-ethnic settings? 2. What is the definition of home and the factors that influence the meaning of home? 3. What are the key variables that can be included in the new conceptual framework of the meaning of home in a multi-ethnic setting, particularly in the Malaysian context? This article is a reviewed paper that explicitly identifies the meaning of home from multiple regions and the factors that influence the definition of home from multi-ethnic perspectives. The objective is to comprehend the definition of home, not only bound to the physical aspect but also how various ethnicities construct the meaning of home from social and personal aspects. This paper derived a hypothesis that each ethnicity of a household practices cultural values and that reconfiguring physical spaces provides greater knowledge of their definition of a home. This article is divided into 5 sections. Section 1 introduces the definition of a physical home and the research problem. Section 2 explains the methodology this paper used as a systematic literature review to gather the existing publications related to the meaning of home in multiple contexts. Section 3 reveals the results on the definition of home and the factors that influence the meaning of home from each related publication's context study. In Section 4, this paper analyses and discusses the key variables that contribute to the development of a new conceptual framework that describes the meaning of home for a multi-ethnic setting, particularly in the Malaysian context. Section 5 concludes with contributions to the study and suggestions for future research. Journal of Contemporary Urban Affairs, 7, 1, 103-121/2023. Ph.D. Candidate Erna Nuraliah Zarani, Professor Gayan Salim 106. 1.1. Background, Socio-demographic in Malaysia. Figure 1. World map, left, and location map of Kuala Lumpur, the capital city of Malaysia, right. Malaysia is a region near the tropic, located at the center of Southeast Asia and mixed with Malay, Chinese, Indian and European cultural influences. Malaysia is not only a region where monsoons meet, but is also a transit center hub for major civilizations. For decades, the population of Malaysia had experienced turbulent events, such as wars, decolonization, migration, and occupation, before the country achieved independence in 1957. Abdullah et al., 2022, Suryati et al., 2022. This phenomenon has drastically transformed the nation from a homogeneous socio-demography into a heterogeneous society that speaks and practices different languages, traditions, and cultures. The Malay Muslim ethnic group constitutes the majority of Malaysia's population, followed by Chinese, Buddhists, Taoists, or Christians and Indian Hindus or Christians. Abdullah et al., 2022. During post-war British Malaya, Kuala Lumpur's capital city experienced overpopulation with immigrants, as well as significant migration of people from rural areas, who flocked to the city, the nation's center of business and commerce, to gain jobs and achieve a better standard of living. Suryati et al., 2022. The sudden population growth led to the rapid development of contemporary row housing in 1970 and spread across the Selangor state. Ju et al., 2011. As time passed by, the transformation of these contemporary houses started to take shape differently. Omar et al., 2016. Mohammed, 1992, looked at how the transition of Malaysian households use their homes to support their belief system and practices in traditional homes, squatters, and contemporary flat dwellings. Intriguingly, this research discovered that Malay and Indian households appropriated domestic spaces to preserve gender domains: male, public, female, private. Chinese homes delimit between public for outsiders and family domains as private. Mohammed, 1992. All three households gradually appropriated the physical configurations of their interior homes to adapt to their perceived needs, a similar case to Chile's low-income families. Malaysian housing policies advocate home ownership based on the anticipated socio-psychological benefits to its citizens. However, there is less emphasis on the distinctly Eastern cultural characteristics that support the locals' lived experience and spatial practice. Hamza and Adnan, 2016. Journal of Contemporary Urban Affairs, 7, 100-121/2023. Ph.D. Candidate Erna Nuraliah Zarani, Professor Gayan Salim 107. 2. Materials and Methods, Systematic Literature Review. A systematic literature review is a scientific exercise, a tool to gather existing literature reviews and identify evidence where it may be lacking, whether contradictory or inconclusive. The principal objective of this work is to identify features or connections between major concepts from previous research that are pertinent to the issue, which is also the aim of a systematic review. Aro Emataris and Pearson, 2014. Figure 2. Publication selection process, developed by author. The works of literature associated with the meaning of home were gathered from a corpus of both theoretical and empirical literature from various disciplines. However, the focus of this review is to gather empirical studies with diverse ethnic backgrounds. A set of search strings using the keywords and synonyms were identified through primary literature review and were finalized. Title: ABS key, meaning or concept or interpretation, and home or house or dwelling, and family or household or domestic, and ethnic or culture or practice, and emotion or feeling or attachment. A search in the academic databases of Google Scholar, N equals 2990, and Scopus, N equals 166, from the 1980s to the present, March 31, 2023, revealed 3,056 publications. This was followed by the selection process of identification, screening, eligibility and final inclusion. 10 papers identified as non-English publications were excluded from the selection process. To assess the eligibility of the chosen papers, a PICO-qualitative technique was utilized, Methley et al., 2014, which included the following 4 review criteria. 1. The papers studied a population that focused on home dwellers who have experienced and modified their physical homes, structural or objects. 2. Interest/intervention, the discourses on the definition of home and the practice of home. 3. Context/setting, households from regions with multicultural backgrounds and a focus within South Eastern context. 4. Outcome, theoretical results on the meaning of home from empirical studies. Journal of Contemporary Urban Affairs, 7, 100-121/2023. Ph.D. Candidate Erna Nuraliah Zarani, Professor Gayan Salim 108. 222 publications were found to be relevant and selected for the full text eligibility process. Empirical studies with actual physical context are highly preferable, and publications published before the year 2000 were excluded since the focus is primarily on the target population in recent years, 2000-2023. Studies from Malaysia are mainly selected and included for its multicultural context. Hence, only 17 publications are found to be relevant. Another 5 most relevant papers were selected through a snowballing procedure to collect other highly relevant sources of the empirical literature and were recognized through citation and reference lists. Ultimately, 22 scientific publications ranging from 2000 to 2023 were selected for analysis. Figure 2 above illustrates the overall selection process. 2.1 Data analysis. Initially, a thematic analysis was utilized to review and synthesize data from experimental and non-experimental literature. A qualitative research approach to examine textual data permits the extraction of main themes and subthemes from a complex and rich dataset, thereby rendering it suitable for the development of a conceptual framework. Crow et al., 2015. A semantic approach was applied to the specific content data in the primary literature study to identify common themes and concepts concerning the meaning of home. A content analysis was then conducted on the selected 22 publications to identify and categorize home definitions and the factors that influence the meaning of home from each context. The data were then examined holistically and in-depth by utilizing the primary themes, which resulted in secondary coding to develop sub-themes. Such introspective theme analysis provided a solid structure for conceptualizing the meaning of home, which was then included in the initial development of the conceptual framework. The following are the primary themes identified as a result of data analysis. 1. The physical home, 2. The social home, and 3. The personal home. 3. Results: conceptualizing the meaning of home. A home is a synthesis of physical, social, and personal aspects that include everyday notions of living within architecture and urban experience. Altarazzi, 2021, Graham et al., 2015, Watkins, 2005. Subthemes that emerged from the data analysis are the factors that influence the home's physical, social, and personal aspects following the context of each publication. Table 1 below presents the physical aspect consisting of 6 subthemes, the social aspect has 6 subthemes, and the personal aspect has 8. These classifications should not be considered in separate entities, but rather as a whole that reflects how each of these categories, social, personal, and physical, impacts and is affected by the other two, in line with the argument made by Altarazzi, 2021. Table 1, Conceptualization of the meaning of home. Definition of a home. Themes: physical, social, personal / psychology. Subthemes: 1. Portrayal of architectural style and preference. 1. Neighbors and multi-generation relations. 1. Belonging and material attachment. 2. Quality of material, structure and neighborhood. 2. Family bonding and interactions. 2. Responsible ownership and status. 3. Suitable and convenient services. 3. Cultural adaptation and acceptance. 3. Permanence, belief, and values. 4. Appropriation and the use of space. 4. Positive atmosphere and caring. 4 Privacy and refuge. 5 Boundary and status. Indicator. 5 Friendships and celebration. 5 Domestic practice and experiences. 6 Physical characteristics and identity. 6 Gender role and domain. 6 Transformability and control. 7 Memories and retreat. Journal of Contemporary Urban Affairs, 7, 1, 103-121/2023. Ernan Uralizarani, Ph.D., C., Professor Gayan Salim 109. 8 Notions of comfort and familiarity. No author year region. 1 Woodward 2003 Australia, 1, 4, 5, 2, 4, 5, 6, 2, 3, 5, 6, 8. 2 Hand ETAL 2005 UK, 1, 3, 5, 6, 1, 3, 5, 2, 5, 8. 3 Hu 2007 China, 1, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 4, 6, 1, 3, 5, 6, 8. 4 Ureta 2007 Chile, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 1, 2, 5, 8. 5 Zari 2010 Malaysia, 1, 4, 5, 1, 2, 5, 6, 3, 4, 5, 8. 6 Rahim and Hashim 2012 Malaysia, 2, 4, 6, 2, 5, 3, 4, 5, 8. 7 Abdelmanem 2012 Cairo, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8 Morrison 2013 New Zealand, 4, 5, 6, 2, 4, 6, 1, 3, 5, 7, 8. 9 Othman 2014 Australia, 1, 5, 6, 3, 6, 3, 4, 5, 8. 10 Law ETAL 2015 Malaysia, 1, 4, 6, 3, 6, 3, 5, 7, 8. 11 Hamza 2016 Malaysia, 2, 4, 5, 6, 2, 4, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8. 12 Omar ETAL 2017 Malaysia, 2, 4, 5, 6, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. 13 Razali and Talib 2017 Malaysia, 2, 4, 6, 2, 3, 6, 4, 5, 6, 7. 14 Mezround 2019 Malaysia, 2, 3, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 15 Al-Tarazi 2021 UK, 1, 2, 3, 6, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4, 6, 8. 16 Achentan 2022 Syria, 1, 4, 6, 3, 4, 6, 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8. 17 Okienka 2022 Africa, 3, 4, 6, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 7, 8. 18 Kotman 2022 Japan, 2, 4, 5, 2, 3, 6, 1, 4, 5, 6. 19 Suryati ETAL 2022 Malaysia, 1, 4, 6, 6, 5, 8. 20 Solidbo 2022 Australia, 1, 4, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 5, 6, 8. 21 Abed 2022 Jordan, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 1, 2, 4, 5, 8. 22 Lordolu 2023 Istanbul, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 6, 1, 4, 6, 7, 8. The definition of home can be found at the center of human life and is heavily influenced by the inhabitants' lived experiences. Watkins, 2005. The interpretation of home inherently varies across ethnicities and is related to lived experiences and acts of appropriation towards their home environment. Journal of Contemporary Urban Affairs, 7, 1, 103-121/2023. Erna Nuralizarani, Ph.D., C. Professor Gayan Salim 110. 3.1 Home in Multi-Ethnic Settings, Ethnicity, Practice, and Physical Space. Figure 3. Subthemes emerged from content analysis, key factors that influence the meaning of home. By regions, developed by the authors. Home is a realm where things are culturally and socially bounded and it becomes the center of our experience of space. Case, 1996, p. 2, Woodward, 2003, which induces a sense of home, either individually or collectively. Turkenli, 1995. The aspect of home experience is an interaction between people, individually or in groups, setting, physical space, and time, linear or cyclical. Case, 1996. According to Figure 3 above, all reviewed papers from multiple regions interpret home as a dynamic home-making tactic of appropriation and the use of physical space. From a personal or psychological aspect, home is a psychospatial entity in almost all regions. Associate home with domestic practices and experiences, the notions of comfort and familiarity and the need for privacy and refuge. Kottman, 2022, Lordolu, 2022, Ojsaden and Rotman, 2022. From a social aspect, there is the necessity of a clear gender role and domain within the physical home setting. Furthermore, cultural adaptation and acceptance within a community are critical for sustainable living in a multi-generational and multicultural society. Almohanati etal, 2023. Okiinka and Amoli, 2012, Soligbo, 2020. As there is a consensus that a physical home is an environment for socializing, social space, scholars view homes as a socio-spatial entity. Hand etal. 2007, Morrison, 2013, Woodward, 2003. The results also revealed that the characteristics of a physical home are equally significant since they reflect the identity, social group, or individual's architectural style and preferences within the self or self-expression. Ureta, 2007. Thus, home is a space for an expression of feelings involving the occupant's mood and desire for personalization that profoundly impact the psychological mind. Graham etal, 2015, Rowles, 1983. Emotional appropriation occurs within the home environment through behavioral tactics such as creating partitions to define boundaries, repainting to suit color. Journal of Contemporary Urban Affairs, 7, 1, 103-121/2023. Erna Nuralizarani, Ph.D. C. Professor Gayan Salim 111. Preference in incorporating DIY products and material belonging that signify family relationships and accomplishments, Graham et al., 2015, McKay and Perkins, 2017, Morrison, 2013. In other words, the concept of home is a complex amalgamation of people's perception of space, experience of space and daily use of space that shaped their meanings and cultural values within it. Bocconi and Kuzenbach, 2020. In socio-psychology, community living or togetherness within a neighborhood context is equally vital to the meaning of home, Soligbo, 2020. The feeling of comfort and safety does not solely rely on the physical or material structure of a home, but also on the relationships with the family and neighbors. Abdelmanem, 2012, Soligbo, 2020, Werner et al., 1992. Researchers also describe home as a social realm defined by their daily interaction with others and their code of behavior, Case, 1996, p. 2. It is determined by a belief system that outlines rules and regulations regarding a way of living, whether individual or part of a congregation, and hence influences the home arrangement for psychological well-being, Law et al., 2015, and socio-cultural practice, Mohammed, 1992. Sacred rituals, such as praying, religious services and ceremonies, are actions and activities that can shape the meaning of home as a way to sustain family relationships and lineage. Who, 2008. Malaysian homes, according to Hasniyati, 2016, are connected with substantial female participation in the homemaking process, and the home is described as an emotional appropriation of lived space evolving around family-centered activities. The home becomes a woman's domain when a woman fulfills the nurturing and caring roles that are traditionally associated with mother figures. It is an emotional attachment an individual has to the meaning of home. Aziz and Ahmed, 2012, Graham et al., 2015, Zari, 2010. Spatial quality and privacy are personal needs and have been significantly discoursed by the Middle Eastern and Asian scholars in contemporary houses. Al-Mohanadi et al., 2023, Hamid et al., 2017. Mazran, 2019, Rahim and Hashim, 2012, Razali and Talib, 2013. A study in Old Cairo examined how daily interactions between homes, friends, extended family, and the historic neighborhood affect people's daily lives. The study developed the idea of multi-use outdoor spaces that are also maintaining the intangible heritage of socio-cultural practices across time. Social interaction occurs in temporal arrangements resulting in part-time space produced according to time, gender associations and social class activities by its community. Abdelmanem, 2012. In a quantitative study on space utilization in a low-cost flat unit, the living hall and kitchen are the dominant spaces with the highest space integration value to the entrance hall. Suryati et al., 2022. From a graphic perspective, the layout appears to provide easy access and better connectivity between the rooms and space relations. Then again, setting up this inside and outside border varies by ethnicity. When it is crossed, individuals feel as though their privacy has been invaded. Abed et al., 2022, Musa et al., 2021. Today, domestic wares and utensils are replaced with new technology and machinery for comfortable and compact living. However, from another ethnic perspective, the new machinery may not be a utilitarian practice to prepare traditional cuisines along with its culinary techniques, particularly within Eastern cultures. Hand et al. 2007, Zari, 2010. The findings support the theory of practice by Certo, 1984a, and Burdi, 1977, that the dynamism of home practice influences the physical configuration of spaces, constructing an appropriate domestic space over time in response to personal and social needs is a dynamic tactic. Home experience is an interaction between people, individually or in groups, setting, physical space, and time, linear or cyclical. The experience can be enhanced through home practice, which involves the occupant's affordance for a place or material belonging, social rules and interactions defined by their belief system, and the act of appropriation through daily use and way of living. Case, 1996. Journal of Contemporary Urban Affairs, 7, 1, 103-121/2023. Ernan Uralizarani, Ph.D., C. Professor Gayan Salim 112. 4. Discussion: The influences of ethnicity on physical spaces. From the results, the concept of home is not only a physical shelter for physiological needs, it also refers to the practice of home, regardless if the home is a concrete structure, e.g. housing, less concrete, e.g. a neighborhood or hometown, or something intangible, e.g. a spiritual/personal home. When a home is perceived as a physical entity, the dynamism of cultural practice inspires human habits for the appropriation of spaces. Altarazi, 2021. It is a home-making process between people, physical space, and notions of home. Schmidt, 1986. That can be formed into a dynamic tactic of creating or making spaces. Mallet, 2004, for spaces never empty but embodies meaning. Lefebvre, 1991, p. 154. The desire to appropriate or create has been perceived as an effort to establish social boundaries. Aziz and Ahmed, 2012. Those who have the authority of decision in making space hold the power to shape the activities within spaces as they define home. Mallet, 2004. The following are the aspects of home that describe the relationship between ethnicity, physical space, and practice. Hence the definitions can be understood from this theoretical perspective. Ethnicity as the social aspect. This element refers to the household's ethnicity and belief system within the physical space and describes how people interact with one another within their homes. According to this viewpoint, ethnicity has the power to impact the configuration of the physical spaces. Space as the physical aspect. This element refers to a building structure or space in which the social and personal/psychological aspects may take place. This aspect is the focus of this study since the presence of the other two elements has the ability to reconfigure and transform it. Practice as the personal aspect. This aspect focuses on the household's definition of home. Their home perceptions, experiences and emotions are a result of household practices that take place inside the actual physical home. Personal aspects refer to the outcome that we are trying to understand, which alludes to how individuals constructed meanings and defined spaces as home based on their lived experiences and practices. Figure 4. An initial development of a conceptual framework with combined theories. Developed by the authors. Ethnicity. Social. Space. Physical. Practice. Personal/psychology. Psychospatial entity. Sociospatial entity. Emotive space. Mediating variable. Dependable. Variable. Independent. Variable. Affects. Cause. Journal of Contemporary Urban Affairs, 7, 1, 103-121/2023. Ernan Uralizarani, Ph.D., C., Professor Gayan Salim 113. Figure 4 above illustrates an initial conceptual framework describing the cause-effect relationship between ethnicity, space, and practice as initial steps to answer the hypothesis of this paper. All reviewed papers were examined on how ethnicity influences physical space and how space is produced culturally. This includes non-specific functional spaces, WHO, 2008, transitory spaces. Ojsidin and Rotman, 2022, in-between spaces, Mazran, 2019, part-time spaces, Abdelmanem, 2012, and negotiated spaces, Othman, 2014, Rahim and Hashim, 2012, revealing a rich variety of cultural and social influences in the physical home settings, to which housing policymakers are oblivious. Abed et al., 2022, Suryati et al., 2022, Urita, 2007. Table 2 below presents the contributions of reviewed papers and their views on home from each context of their studies. Table 2. Contribution to the understanding of the meaning of home in multi-ethnic settings. No. Author year region key contribution, space appropriation, home approach. 1 Woodward 2003 Australia middle class households placing objects for comfort, use or aesthetics and style, create space for socially mediating symbolic boundaries of self. Psychospatial. 2 Hand et al. 2005 United Kingdom. A comparison study on the 1980s and small modern homes with accumulating domestic technologies. Modern kitchen becomes a multifunctional space, and the bathroom is multiplying. Psychospatial. 3 WHO 2007 China Spatial Boundaries. All rooms have multifunctional uses across the time and life course of the families. Non-specific functional space and family hierarchy. Sociospatial. 4 Urita 2007 Chile DIY, Domesticate Home Strategies on Homogeneous Spaces for a Sense of Identity. Psychospatial. 5 Zari 2010 Malaysia Flexible Expansion System on Physical Space for Privacy and Muslim Women's Comfort Use. Psychospatial. 6 Rahim and Hashim. 2012 Malaysia Negotiation/Shared Space, Living and Dining Become Interchangeable Spaces based on affordance. Sociospatial. 7 Abdelmoun M. 2012 Cairo Part-Time Space, The Use of Private/Outdoor According to Time and Social Practice. Sociospatial. 8 Morrison 2013 New Zealand. Domestic space and material objects embodied the intimacy and relationships of a household. Emotive space. 9 Othman 2014 Australia In Between Space, the balancing factor to provide hospitality and achieve optimum privacy in Muslim homes. Psychospatial. 10 Law et al. 2015 Malaysia Spiritual Space, the influence of metaphysic on the Design of physical buildings in ancient Asian cultures. Psychospatial. 11 Hamza 2016 Malaysia. Feelings, perceptions, relations, and attachment to lived space is a homemaking process. Emotive space. 12 Omar et al. 2017 Malaysia. Mirror arrangement of terrace housing is visually exposing and leads to reconfiguration of home material. Psychospatial. 13 Razali and Talib. 2017 Malaysia. Imbalanced space, the Malay women's domain and visual privacy are conflicted in a tiny flat housing. Psychospatial. 14 Mazround 2019 Malaysia. In between space, home frontage distance to achieve the optimum privacy. Psychospatial. 15 Al-Tarazi 2021 United Kingdom. Personalizing, assessment of human psychological well-being in the physical homes and general life. Psychospatial. 16 Achentan 2022 Syria. Redecorated home in Istanbul and reminisced home in Syria, transitional space for a sense of belonging. Emotive space. Journal of Contemporary Urban Affairs, 7, 121-121/2023. Ernan Uralizarani, Ph.D., C., Professor Gayan Salim 114. 17 Okiinka 2022 Africa. Comfort and security in physical home features are most preferable in the Yoruba culture to develop a sense of belonging. Psychospatial. 18 Kotman 2022 Japan. New space of relating and belonging. Diversification of living arrangement in hyper-solo society practice. Emotive space. 19 Suryati et al. 2022 Malaysia. Integration of domestic spaces, space connectivity, and accessibility of dominant spaces. Psychospatial. 20 Solidbo 2022 Australia. Homemaking for migrants in vertical housing and seeking a sense of community is a multi-staging process of home experience. Sociospatial. 21 Abed 2022 Jordan. Home designs with socio-cultural considerations produce different architectural forms, it is never a static home layout. Psychospatial. 22 Lordolu 2022 Istanbul. Gendered space, women conflicts to feel a sense of belonging in the foreign cultural environment. Emotive space. According to the findings, setting boundaries and safety are always associated with the physical aspect of a home. Abu Gazette, 2000, Mazran, 2019, Woodward, 2003. However, these elements can be found through the aspects of social and personal needs. Abdelmanem, 2012, Kotman, 2022. Woodward, 2003. For example, a tactic of belonging was utilized by Syrian female occupants to recreate kitchen space in their new homes in Istanbul by placing objects that provide them good use for cooking practice and memories of their homes in Syria. Ojsaden and Rotman, 2022. This act of demarcation defines a space for home dwellers as a safe and functional place that supports their daily activities and practices. Kotman, 2022, Rosbrook and Schweitzer, 2010. Meanwhile, the spatial meaning of Chinese traditional family dwellings mirrors their family hierarchy and Confucianism practice. There are numerous courtyards in the traditional Chinese house to accommodate 4-5 generations of family members. Consequently, maintaining privacy and social boundaries is possible with wall-segregated areas. However, interestingly, All rooms are multi-purpose and offer flexibility of usage across time and the life course of the family. Except for the kitchen and main hall, the homes were never functional spaces. The sacred and safest space is for the eldest family members and is located at the innermost space within this traditional home. Who, 2008. All reviewed papers focus on a single ethnic group, a single belief system, social class, and migration. From elderly, gender, student and refugee perspectives. Thus, the outcome discovered few studies on the cultural practice of multi-ethnic households within a home setting. More research studies on multi-ethnic homes are required in contemporary housing policy because the primary emphasis is on house supply, and the design is focused heavily on supplying practical rooms based on population affordance. Hamid et al., 2017, Iman Fah, 2018, Suryati et al., 2022. Therefore, it is vital to develop a conceptual framework as a guide to explore the meaning of home from this perspective. Journal of Contemporary Urban Affairs, 7, 1, 103-121/2023. Ernan Uralizarani, Ph.D., C., Professor Gayan Salim 115. 4.1 The development of conceptual framework, the practice of home in multi-ethnic settings. Figure 5. A conceptual framework on the meaning of home for multi-ethnic settings. Developed by the authors. A new conceptual framework is constructed in Figure 5 utilizing all the combined theories on ethnicity, space and practice, and how they can be applied to an investigation in a multi-ethnic home setting. The ethnicity of a household is an independent variable that can affect the physical home settings as a dependable variable over time, experience, and appropriation. East Hope, 2004. Each household has a different set of family structures and belief systems. It is important to identify the target group of a household structure before conducting an experimental study. In the context of Malaysia, a single neighborhood may comprise multi-ethnicities Malay, Chinese, and Indian households. Their belief system and practices may influence the use of spaces in a home setting. The practice of home is a mediating variable explaining how and why the effect occurs in the physical home settings. Based on the literature, this practice can be divided into three parts, following the three approaches to defining home as emotive space, socio-spatial entity and psychospatial entity. East Hope, 2004. The first portion examines the occupants' perceptions and feelings of their homes, due to their experience within their physical homes and the neighborhoods. The experience depends on the household structure and belief system that regulates their lifestyle. The second portion concerns the occupants' lived experience and way of living, concerning the home as a psychospatial entity. It explores the occupants' daily use of space and their strategies to appropriate the house. This section elaborates on the transformability of existing rooms, their involvement and inspiration to transform spaces, the reason to modify and the effort to produce, consume and adapt indoor, outdoor, and in-between spaces in a home. The final portion discusses the daily use and social relations of households. This portion focuses on the use of space in a home, as well as their daily and social activities, which include personal activities, hobbies or interests, family activities, religious activities, neighborhood activities, and social and celebratory activities according to the time of day, weekend, and special events. Abdelmanem, 2012. Al-Mohanadi et al., 2023, Rahim and Hashim, 2012. It is an indication of how frequently they engage in these activities, as well as what significant activities take place in their homes. A socio-spatial approach. Independent variable. Ethnicity. Dependable variable. Physical configuration of the home. Transform existing to new spaces. Generating cultural values and spatial practice patterns. From multi-ethnic perspectives and their definition of a home. Malaysian occupants. Malay households. Chinese households. Indian households. Home as psychospatial entity. Home experience. Strategy to appropriate the use. Reason to modify and adapt. Investment, cost and effort. Home as emotive space. Feelings and perception of home. Home as socio-spatial entity. Daily use of space and social relations. Mediating variable. Practice. Journal of Contemporary Urban Affairs, 7, 1, 103-121/2023. Ernan Uralizarani, Ph.D., C., Professor Gayan Salim 116. This is a holistic approach to home practice that develops spatial practice patterns to explain how an ethnicity's ideas, cultural values, and practices influence the physical configuration of a home and regulate its spatial boundaries and privacy. In a multi-ethnic home setting, there is a need to understand how they perceive each space and in-between space to perform their domestic activities comfortably and respectably. Abdullah et al., 2022. 5. Conclusion. This article is a review paper that explicitly identifies the meaning of home from multiple regions and the factors that influence the definition of home from multi-ethnic perspectives. This comprehensive review identifies that the notion of home is a synthesis of three aspects of home: physical, social and personal. From an extensive content analysis, subthemes emerged as the factors that influence the meaning of home from the context study of each publication. A new conceptual framework introduces three key variables: ethnicity, household structure and belief system, home practice, emotions, experiences, and daily use, and the physical spaces, appropriated or transformed space, and how the interactions of key variables are applicable to investigate the meaning of home in a multi-ethnic setting. This study clarifies how people practicing and define home as a dynamic tactic of homemaking. Consequently, this review paper made the following contributions. First, this study is significant for interweaving the gap between the disciplines of sociology, psychology, emotions, architecture and urbanism. The purpose of this new framework is to guide research that involves human intervention in the transformability of spaces and physical settings, which is vast, from territorial, psychology, socio-psychology and phenomenology studies. Hence, this S2D provides a full grasp of home, where physical homes are constantly appropriated inside and outside following the behaviors of occupants towards their living environment. Second, the outcome responds to the hypothesis of this paper that each household practices cultural values, privacy, and social boundaries in line with their belief systems, and that reconfiguring a physical space defines the meaning of home. Most occupants, for example, define home as a safe place, but how they practice safety in their living environment demonstrates varied interpretations that have yet to be investigated. Thus, this study suggests further research with households of different belief Systems in a contemporary housing design. This knowledge is vital and can contribute to the contemporary housing policy that is less attentive to the design of houses with cultural characteristics for multi-ethnic homes. Third, this systematic review utilized a qualitative research method. As much as the study revealed a greater meaning of home, there is a need to examine the methods and tools utilized by related empirical papers and the outcome of their methods for future investigations. Lastly, the digital world has opened up a new place where people, particularly the young generation, can find the meaning of home virtually. This research focuses on physical places, while social media platforms are abstract spaces where social and personal needs can be appropriated and evolved for personal presence, intercultural and social networking and preservation of memories. Within art and humanities, the new framework is highly recommended to all local architects, designers, developers and urban planners to guide overall design practices and policies for all housing types. The purpose is to ensure a comprehensive understanding of the meaning of home, incorporating the actual home practices of occupants within multi-ethnic neighborhoods or countries, similar to Malaysia. Acknowledgements. This research is made possible by the Malaysian Ministry of Higher Education and Architecture and Urbanism Research Group, University of Leeds. Journal of Contemporary Urban Affairs, 7, 1, 103-121/2023. Erna Nuraliazarani, Ph.D., C., Professor Gayan Salim 117. Conflict of interests. The authors declare no conflict of interest. Funding. This work was supported by the Malaysian Ministry of Higher Education, Majlis Amanah Rakyat. Mara, to Erna Zarani. Data Availability Statement. The authors confirm that the data supporting the findings of this study are available within the article and/or its supplementary materials. Credit author statement. Conceptualization, ENZ, GS. Formal analysis, ENZ, GS. Investigation, ENZ. Methodology. E.N.ZG.S. Visualization, ENZ. Role/writing, ENZ. Review and editing, E.N.ZG.S. References. Abdelmanem, M.G. 2012. Responsive Homes of Old Cairo, Learning from the Past, Feeding in the Future. Hospitality and Society, 2, 3, 251-271. https://doi.org/10.1386/hospital 2.3.251_1. Abdelmanem, M.G., and Salim, G. 2012. Architecture, Memory, and Historical Continuity in Old Cairo. Journal of Architecture, 17, 2, 163-189. https://doi.org/10.1080/1365.2012.67864. Abdullah, WAMW, Roslan, NH, Ismail, S.A., Mansour, M., and Elisa, N. 2022. Multi-ethnic Harmony in Diversity Country with Functionalism Theory in Malaysia. Baltic Journal of Law and Politics, a journal of Vitatas Magnus University, 15, 3, 493-511. https://doi.org/10.2478/bjlp 2022-002037. Abed, A., Abedat, B., and Gareba, I. 2022. The Impact of Socio-Cultural Factors on the Transformation of House Layout, a Case of Public Housing, Zeeb Farkau, in Jordan. Journal of Asian Architecture and Building Engineering, 00/00/114. https://doi.org/10.1080/1346758/1.2022.20740021. Abu Gazette, T.M. 2000. Environmental Messages in Multiple Family Housing, Territory and Personalization. Landscape Research, 25, 1, 97-115. https://doi.org/10.1080/014263900113190. Abu Bakr, A., Malak, N.A., Mohit, M.A., Othman, R., Nur, A., and Sanusi, Z. 2016. Housing Space. Quality Towards Quality of Life, a Case Study of Double-Story Terrace Houses. Maytech Web. Of Conferences 66, IBCC, 110. https://doi.org/10.1051/maytuckinf/201666600083. Al-Mohanadi, A., Major, M.D., Furlan, R., Al-Matwi, R.S., and Isaifan, R.J. 2023. Investigation of Spatial and Cultural Features in Contemporary Qatari Housing. Urban Science, 7, 2, 60. https://doi.org/10.3390/urbansci70200060. Al-Tarazi, D. 2021. What Makes a House a Home? A Theoretical Model for the Architectural Design of Homes Based on Human Psychological Needs to Support and Promote Users' Psychological Well-Being, Issue February, University of the West of England. https://ue repository.worktribe.com/output/61123888. Al-Thahab, AAL. 2016. Towards Sustainable Architecture and Urban Form, Socio-Cultural Aspects of Sustainable Application of the Practice of Home and the Mahala's Everyday Life in Iraq, University of Wolverhampton. http://hdl.handle.net/2436/621928. Arom Ataris, E., and Pearson, A. 2014. The Systematic Review, an Overview. American Journal of Nursing, 114, 3, 5358. https://doi.org/10.1097/01.naj.000444496.24228.2c. Aziz, A.A., and Ahmed, A.S. 2012. Homemaking in Low-Cost Housing Area. Prostia, Social and Behavioral Sciences, 49, 268-281. https://doi.org/10.1016/j.spro.2012.07.025. Bakani, P., and Kuzenbach, M. 2020. For a Comparative Sociology of Home, Relationships, Cultures, Structures. Current Sociology, 68, 5, 595-606. https://doi.org/10.1177/00113921209277776. Bourdieu, P. 1977. Outline of a Theory of Practice, R. Nice, Transaction. In E. Gellner, J. Goody, S. Journal of Contemporary Urban Affairs, 7, 1, 103-121/2023. Ernan Uralizarani, Ph.D., C., Professor Gayan Salim 118. Goodman, M. Hertzfeld, and J. Perry, eds. Cambridge Studies in Social and Cultural Anthropology. Cambridge University Press. https://doi.org/https://doi.org/10.1017/cb09780511812507. Case, D. 1996. Contributions of Journeys Away to the Definition of Home, an Empirical Study of a Dialectical Process. Journal of Environmental Psychology, 16, 115. https://doi.org/https://doi.org/10.1006/jev.1996.0001. Certo, M.D. 1984. Making Do, Uses and Tactics, S. Rendell, Transaction. In the Practice of Everyday Life, pages 1-54. University of California Press. https://monoscop.org/images/2/2a/the_certo_michelle_the_everyday_life.pdf. Crow, M., Inder, M., and Porter, R. 2015. Conducting Qualitative Research in Mental Health, Thematic and Content Analyses. Australian and New Zealand Journal of Psychiatry, 49, 7, 6/16/623. https://doi.org/10.1177/00048674155820553. Cure Duvalches, T., Navis Martin, M.A. and Oteza, I. 2020. A Mixed Approach on Resilience of Spanish Dwellings and Households During COVID-19 Lockdown. Sustainability, Switzerland. 12, 23, 124. https://doi.org/10.3390/so1223100198. East Hope, H. 2004. A Place Called Home. Housing, Theory and Society, 21, 3, 128-138. https://doi.org/10.1080/14036090410021360. Graham, L.T., Gosling, S.D., and Travis, C.K. 2015. The Psychology of Home Environments, A. Call for Research on Residential Space. Perspectives on Psychological Science, 10, 3, 346-356. https://doi.org/10.1177/17456916155767761. Hamid, Z.A., Hung, F.C., and Beng, G.H. 2017. Affordable and Quality Housing Through Mechanization, Modernization, and Mass Customization. Modernization, Mechanization and Industrialization of Concrete Structures, February, 452-474. https://doi.org/10.1002/9781118865003.ch11. Hamza, H., and Adnan, N. 2016. The Meaning of Home and Its Implications on Alternative Tenures. A Malaysian Perspective. Housing, Theory and Society, 33, 3, 305323. https://doi.org/10.1080/1403609.2016.11430025. Hand, M, Shove, E, and Southerton, D. 2007. Home Extensions in the United Kingdom, Space, Time, and Practice. Environment and Planning D, Society and Space, 25, 4, 668-681. https://doi.org/10.1068/D413T. Handel, A. 2019. What's in a Home? Toward a Critical Theory of a Choosing/Dwelling. Environment and Planning C, Politics and Space, 37, 6, 1045-1062. https://doi.org/10.1177/23996544188191004. Heidegger, M. 2001. Building Dwelling Thinking, A. Hofstadter, Transaction. In Poetry, Language, Thought, Volume 46, Issue 4, p. 670. Harper and Row. Original work published in 1971. https://doi.org/10.2307/40126613. Hu, X. 2008. Boundaries and Openings, Spatial Strategies in the Chinese Dwelling. Journal of Housing and the Built Environment, 23, 4, 353-366. https://doi.org/10.1007/S10901-008-9123Z. I'm, LP, and FAH, CY. 2018. Preference of Residential Typologies of Urban Malaysians. Planning. Malaysia, 16, 3, 171-181. https://doi.org/10.2183/pmjournal.v16.i7.509. Ju, S.R., Zaki, S.A., and Choi, Y.K. 2011. Contextual Modernization, New Town Planning in Petaling. Jaya, of Malaysia. Journal of Asian Architecture and Building Engineering, 10, 1, 93-100. https://doi.org/10.3130/jabi.10.93. Kotman, N. 2022. Living, Alone, Together in Metropolitan Japan, Shifting Boundaries of Dwelling. Relating, and Belonging. Gender, Place, and Culture, 29, 8, 1162-1182. https://doi.org/10.1080/09663669x.2021.19739668. Law, NAA, Wahab, MHA, KOH, D, and Sarawano, M. 2015. Metaphysical Approach for Design. Functionality in Malay Islamic Architecture. Prostia, Social and Behavioral Sciences, 202. 273-284. https://doi.org/10.1016/j.spro.2015.08.231. Lefevre, H. 1991. The Production of Space, D. Nicholson Smith, Transaction. In the Production of Space. Blackwell. https://mars1980.github.io/space/resources/Lefebvre Production of Space. Journal of Contemporary Urban Affairs, 7, 1, 103-121/2023. Ernan Uralaya Zarani, Ph.D., C., Professor Gayan Salim 119. Excerpts 1.pdf. Lordolu, C. 2022. Multiple Homes, Emotions, Selves, Home Narratives of Women Who Abandoned Unhappy Homes in Istanbul. Gender, Place, and Culture, 30, 9, 1261-1280. https://doi.org/10.1080/09663669x.2022.21182441. McKay, M., and Perkins, H.C. 2017. The Globalizing World of DIY House Improvement, Interpreting a Cultural and Commercial Phenomenon. Housing Studies, 32, 6, 758-777. https://doi.org/10.1080/02673037.2016.1234031. Mallet, S. 2004. Understanding Home, A Critical Review of the Literature. Sociological Review, 52, 1. 6289. https://doi.org/10.1111/j.1467-954x.2004.00442.x. Mazran, S.A. 2019. Privacy Factors of the House Frontages in Malaysian Terrace Houses, Issue. October, University Technology Malaysia. http://eprints.utm.my/id/eprints/98295/1/sitaasiamasran mf abu2019.pdf. Methley, A.M., Campbell, S., Chugram, C., McNally, R., and Cherokee Sohi, S. 2014. PICO. PICOS and Spider, a comparison study of specificity and sensitivity in 3 search tools for qualitative systematic reviews. BMC Health Services Research, 14, 1. https://doi.org/10.1186/S12913-014-0579-0. Mohammed, R. 1992. Unity in Diversity, an exploration of the supports concept as a design approach to housing in multi-ethnic Malaysia. Massachusetts Institute of Technology. http://hdl.handle.net/1721.1/68740. Moen, J., and Twig, L. 2007. Sense of Place, Quality of Life in Local Socio-Economic Context. Evidence from the Survey of English Housing, 2002/03. Urban Studies, 44, 10, 2029-2045. https://doi.org/10.1080/00420980701471885. Morrison, C.A. 2013. Homemaking in New Zealand, Thinking Through the Mutually Constitutive Relationship between Domestic Material Objects, Heterosexuality, and Home. Gender, Place and Culture, 20, 4, 413-431. https://doi.org/10.1080/0966369x.2012.694358. Muhammad Kadiri, Z, Rakmawati, M, and Fakih, M. 2020. The meaning of home in perception of elderly. Advances in social science, education, and humanities research, 436. https://doi.org/10.2991/isra.k.200529.017. Musa, Z. M., Farid, M., Abdullah, R., Usman, A. H., and Iskandar, A. 2021. Privacy in Islam as a Guide to Housing Development. IJIK, 11, 2, 6777. https://doi.org/10.15575/ijik.v11i2.11904. Okienka, Y., and Amoli, B. 2012. The Meaning of Home in Yoruba Culture. Ethiopian Journal of Environmental Studies and Management, 5, 4, 489-496. https://doi.org/10.4314/egesam.v5i4.s8. Omar, E.O., Indut, E., and Sarawano, M. 2016. Adapting by Altering, Spatial Modifications of Terraced Houses in the Klang Valley Area. Asian Journal of Environment Behavior Studies, 2, 110. https://doi.org/10.21834/hbs.v2i2.173. Othman, Z. 2014. University Life in Australian Homes, 3 Case Studies of International Muslim Students in Brisbane. Journal of Islamic Architecture, 3, 69. https://doi.org/10.18860/ga.v3i2.2527. Oshsadan, P.S., and Rotman, S.B. 2022. Lived, Spaces of Belonging, Culture, and Gender, Spatial Practices of Home for Syrian Women in Istanbul. Space and Culture, 119. https://doi.org/10.1177/12063312221089213. Rahim, Z.A., and Hashim, A.H. 2012. Adapting to Terrace Housing Living in Malaysia. Prostia. Social and Behavioral Sciences, 36, 147-157. https://doi.org/10.1016/j.spro.2012.03.017. Razdi, M.T.M. 2007. Housing Crisis, Back to Humanistic Agenda, M. Hamza, ed. 1st. University Technology of Malaysia. https://penerbit.utm.my/booksonline/housing crisis back to a humanistic agenda/ Razali, N.H.M., and Talib, A. 2013. The Concept of Privacy and the Malay Dwelling Interior Space. Planning. Prostia, Social and Behavioral Sciences, 101, 404-414. https://doi.org/10.1016/j.spro.2013.07.214. Ryu, L., Scrima, F., and Werner, C.M. 2017. Space Appropriation and Place Attachment, University. Journal of Contemporary Urban Affairs, 7, 1, 103-121/2023. Ernan Uralaya Zarani, Ph.D. C. Professor Gayan Salim 120. Students create places. Journal of Environmental Psychology, 50, 60-68. https://doi.org/10.1016/j.gen.2017.02.003. Rosbrook, B., and Schweitzer, R.D. 2010. The Meaning of Home for Karen and Chin Refugees from Burma, an Interpretative Phenomenological Approach. European Journal of Psychotherapy and Counseling, 12, 2, 159-172. https://doi.org/10.1080/1364253.2010.48886. Rowles, G.D. 1983. Place and Personal Identity in Old Age, Observations from Appalachia. Journal of Environmental Psychology, 3, 299-313. https://doi.org/10.1016/s0272. 4944, 83, 80033-4. Samanani, F., and Leonard, J. 2019. House and Home. The Cambridge Encyclopedia of Anthropology. 118. http://doi.org/10.29164/19 Home. Samsudin, N.A., and Edid, S.Z.A. 2016. Influences of Housing Settings and Designs in Fulfilling the Malay Residents' Social Cultures. Journal of the Malaysian Institute of Planners Special. Issue 4, 4, 109120. https://doi.org/10.21837/PMV14I4.152. 6 Schmith, J. 1986. The Meaning of Home, an Exploratory Study of Environmental Experience. Journal of Environmental Psychology, 6, 281-298. https://doi.org/10.1016/s0272. 4944, 86, 80002-0. Soligbo, A.D. 2020. Homemaking and Sense of Community, Issue November, Macquarie University. https://figs.mq.edu.au/articles/thesis/home_making_of_sense_community_me. Grants_in Sydney_apartments/212808030/1. Suryati, A.S., Mahadan, H.H.B., Resang, A.M., Aini, A.M., Matizar, S.S.S., and Juzan, M.M. 2022. Integrated Space in Low-Income Housing in Kuala Lumpur. Lecture Notes in Civil Engineering, 201, 425-432. https://doi.org/10.1007/978-981-16-6932-3_37. Ureta, S. 2007. Domesticating Homes, Material Transformation and Decoration Among Low-Income Families in Santiago, Chile. Home Cultures, 4, 3, 311-336. https://doi.org/10.2752/174063107x247341. Vale, L.J. 1999. Mediated Monuments and National Identity. Journal of Architecture, 4, 4, 391-408. https://doi.org/10.1080/136023699373774. Watkins, C. 2005. Representations of Space, Spatial Practices and Spaces of Representation, an application of Lefebvre's spatial triad. Culture and Organization, 11, 3, 209220. https://doi.org/10.1080/1475955505002033318. Werner, C.M. 1987. Home Interiors, A Time and Place for Interpersonal Relationships. Environment and Behaviour, 19, 2, 169-179. https://doi.org/10.1177/00139165871920005. Werner, C.M., Altman, I., and Brown, B.B. 1992. A Transactional Approach to Interpersonal Relations, Physical Environment, Social Context, and Temporal Qualities. Journal of Social and Personal Relationships, 9, 2, 297-323. https://doi.org/10.1177/02654075920920008. Woodward, I. 2003. Divergent Narratives in the Imagining of the Home Amongst Middle Class Consumers, Aesthetics, Comfort, and the Symbolic Boundaries of Self and Home. Journal of Sociology, 39, 4, 391-412. https://doi.org/10.1177/00048690033940005. Zari, F.M. 2010. The Malay Women and Terrace Housing in Malaysia SARC 591. Victoria. University of Wellington. http://researcharchive.vu.ac.nz/handle/10063/1598. Journal of Contemporary Urban Affairs, 7, 1, 103-121/2023. Erna Nuraliazarani, Ph.D., C., Professor Gayan Salim 121. How to cite this article. Zarani, E.N. and Salim, G. 2023. A Review of the Meaning of Home in Multi-Ethnic Settings. Journal of Contemporary Urban Affairs, 7, 1, 103-121. https://doi.org/10.25034/HQA.2023.v7n1-8